you said you're an Indian citizen. If the Prime Minister invited you to a round table and said, give me 3 things that I should do in the next budget, what would they be?
My views on this are well known. We do need to continue with some of the economic reforms, because in the end, that is the way to harness the energies of the 140 crore Indians. The Prime Minister is doing a fabulous job of building up India's infrastructure. I've never seen this kind of pace and this kind of scale of building infrastructure, including the digital infrastructure. But all around, Prime Minister
Bombay is
really
transformed, sir. Bombay is transformed. The infrastructure is just world-class finally.
Exactly. I mean, I've gone through the coastal road.
Yes, sir.
And I've gone to the Atal Setu as well. And it's marvelous. I think in Delhi, I see the kinds of buildings like Bharat Mandapam, the new parliament building, the kinds of buildings we never constructed, we are doing it. So I think on that front, fantastic. Regionally, I think fantastic. Northeast, for example, which had been somewhat neglected, the Prime Minister is really transforming Northeast as well. So all that is very good, but we also need to harness the energy, not just of the government, but also the 140 crore Indians. And for that, policy reform continues to be very important. So my priority number 1 at this point would be to ensure that the labor laws, 4 labor codes, which had been passed, enacted by the Parliament in 2019 and 2020, they ought to be implemented without delay. Second, I think privatization program, which is in a way the government's official policy, because there is a public enterprise policy that the government put in place during the COVID era, when the COVID year was upon us at that time, under which the government has separated 4 strategic sectors in which it plans to keep the public the public sector enterprises, but in all the remaining non-strategic sectors, it has committed to actually privatize.
Yes.
I think we need to proceed with that privatization. So that will be my second very important area of reform. Third, I think banking also, because we had repeated episodes of NPAs, these episodes each time take up large volume of taxpayer money to be recapitalized, and we infuse something more than about 3 lakh crore rupees into the public sector banks. We never had to put any money in the private sector banks to recapitalize them. That will save a lot of resources. It will also make financial sector much more vibrant. So that has to happen.
Your third thing.
Some states have to do. Very, very important area of reform is urban. I think, urbanization in India is not progressing as well as it has to. And no country transforms into a modern economy without massive urbanization.
I think the excuse they always say is that there's no public consensus for privatization in India, that we actually like our public sector. Is that true?
Well, no. Look, privatization has happened. Air India was privatized. Then there was a very big steel company, Neelanchal, which has been privatized. Some of the smaller enterprises have also been privatized. But we need to get to, bigger. It's true that privatization is more contentious, more difficult also. I think bureaucratically, it's very, very difficult actually, because so many hurdles. And somebody or the other always ends up in the Supreme Court. And, when you have reached the last stage of unloading the enterprise, somebody would come in and challenge that.
You're economic historians, you'll remember when Bajpayee ji tried to do this, he was taught by George Fernandes, who was the industry minister at that time.
Yes. No. There were a lot of opposition. And actually, we know that, BPCL had come up for privatization at the time.
Yeah,
but
then
the parliament refused to actually amend the law, because they had been nationalized, and so you had to denationalize in a way.
But quick question, given the fact that the present government has had at least a clear majority in parliament and in Rajya Sabha, are they moving slow on this? Quick answer.
Well, that, my guess is, this is anybody's guess, but the government in the 2024 election, BJP did not get the kind of majority that it was expected to get. So there is a little bit of solidification, perhaps. But I know the Prime Minister's mind, and I know the Prime Minister. I think he is trying to address a few things to consolidate the political base, and I have no doubt
It
that
will happen.
we will come back to, yes, it
You
will
know,
happen. Actually, today, by the way, Financial Express actually carried a news on labor laws, for example.
correct,
They've
today.
been, but today I saw a report, front page report in Financial Express, saying that the government is getting ready, and early next year, in January, February, very likely these will be implemented.